I'll start again for the recording people. So thank you for joining me and watching this masterclass on how to break free from past trauma, heal core wounds to become confident, happy, and love life. I'm really excited to be sharing this information with you and for us to share this time together. I know that even though it's a free masterclass, you've still invested your time and energy showing up to watch this. So I really appreciate that. And I look forward to spending the next hour and a half with you. So let me introduce myself. I'm Casey Chader. I'm a master certified coach of neurotransformation therapy, master certified practitioner of neurotransformation therapy, and I'm a master practitioner of timeline therapy as well. And I'm also a certified colon hydrotherapist as well, which is really exciting. So I am trained in the most up-to-date knowledge and information on trauma, human behavior, psychology, and neuroscience. So I understand at a deeper level what drives human behavior, how the brain works, why people do what they do, and what the relationship is between the childhood trauma and our adult life, and also how stored emotions manifest and impact our body. It blows my mind how so many illnesses are linked back to stored emotions in the body. It's absolutely fascinating. And we carry and hold so many emotions in our colon, as well as our stomach, our gut, or different places. But it's absolutely fascinating how the body stores emotions and trauma. I'm so passionate about finding the root cause, healing from the root cause, and not just looking at the symptoms. I'm all about living in a holistic lifestyle and being the healthiest, happiest version of yourself, no matter what that might look like. As long as you're happy, healthy, and you're living your life, then that's the best and the most powerful thing you can do. So how to get the most out of this masterclass? No distractions, turn off TVs, no phones, put your phone on silent, and any other tabs that you might have open. Because I know for me, if I've got a million different tabs open, or if I think I've got to do this tomorrow, I've got to do this later, I don't take in and absorb the information. So I might just take on little bits and pieces and I might miss stuff. And then later on, you might think to yourself, oh, what was that thing she said again? Because we're not fully present, so we can not absorb all the information. So if you're able to just minimize distractions, be 100% focused and attention on this full time, then you're going to gain so much more out of it. And don't be a ghost. I love your interaction. I love putting stuff in the chat so we can have that connection, which is always a beautiful thing to have when you attend masterclasses. And take notes as well, because there's going to be so much information and it's a lot to take on. So don't be afraid to take screenshots or take some notes as well along the way. So participation. I love engagement, comments, and feedback on what you're enjoying. So write in the chat what you like, what you're enjoying. Any questions that might come up, you can chuck them in the chat. If I miss them, I will circle back around at the end and answer them. And I will open up a Q&A at the end as well. So you can ask any questions that you may have wanted a more in-depth answer to, or write your questions down and we can go over them at the end as well. So I'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? And what are you looking forward to gaining from this masterclass? If you want to chuck it in the chat, I'd love to hear off you. I think two of you are from Dubbo by the names. I recognize them, but chuck it in the chat. What are you looking forward to gaining from this masterclass? Oh, watching from home in Mudgee. Oh, cool, Rebecca. You're on your PC, Heather. Cool. So who is this masterclass for? If you're getting triggered by others, looking forward to learning new skills and tools. Absolutely, definitely. So this masterclass is for if you are getting triggered by others in daily life, example, friends, family, work colleagues. If you're struggling with depression, anxiety, PTSD, CPTSD, or any other mental health issues or any other struggles that you have, if you feel like you want more confidence in yourself, if you struggle with trauma, past trauma, and you want to heal from your past, if you feel guilty for standing up for yourself, if you feel there is something wrong with you and you feel like you're stuck in life, if you feel you're not happy where you are emotionally, and if you're wanting to create change in your life, then you're in the right spot and you're going to gain so much from this. So what would your life look like if you could live depression and anxiety free, trauma free, have the confidence to be who you truly want to be, not be triggered, love yourself, and live a life that you love and desire? You feel happy and excited about the future, and you find your voice and not fear judgment of others. What would that look like to you? That would be great. It's amazing, definitely. So in this masterclass, I'm going to cover understanding on a deeper level how our brain filters information before and after a traumatic experience, understand how our core wounds are playing out into our adult life, the trauma patterns and attachment styles you form from these core wounds, and why it is important to find and heal from the root cause, and heal your core wounds to break free from your past trauma. I'll also share with you my release, heal, and glow method to get the results you desire, even when nothing's worked. I've had people do psychology, they've done counseling, EMDR, they've done all sorts of things, and they haven't had the results that they have doing the release, heal, and glow method. It's absolutely amazing. From before and after, it's incredible. So what I'd love to do now is let's clear the air so then we can all just enjoy our time together. So what I'm going to do is I'll rip the Band-Aid straight off, because I know whenever I join a masterclass or I do anything, I always worry or I always think, are they going to try to sell me something at the end, or am I going to try to be talked into signing up to something? So what I'll just share with you now that I will be offering a 30-minute one-on-one strategy session for those who would like me to personally help you effortlessly break free from past trauma, heal core wounds to become confident, happy, and love life. So if that's something that you're interested in, I will pop in the chat the link to take one of these free offers up if you want. Up to you whether you want to watch the masterclass, then think about it, see what information I share, or you just want to jump straight in and say, yep, I'm going to grab that free offer up. So then we can just enjoy the information and time that we've got together. So after working with clients around the world and overcoming this myself, I have discovered that anyone can change if they truly want, but you have to say yes and you have to do the work. Depression, anxiety, PTSD, CPTSD are just learned patterns, and they're not who you truly are and can be healed. We can form an identity to the labels that we're given, and I see it so often. And conditioning keeps us stuck. There's so much conditioning in the world right now, and we're conditioned from such a young age, and it keeps us stuck. The key to transformation and lasting change lies in your subconscious and finding the root cause, because all our emotions, memories, conditioning programs, stories, beliefs, they're all stored in the subconscious. So to change your conscious mind, you have to do the work in your subconscious first, for then your conscious mind to change. And what we suppress manifests. And that is so true, because we can only hold things down for so long. Like if we store things, what happens when you put a saucepan on a pot of water? You can only keep the lid on for so long, and then it starts to bubble and the water starts to spit out. And that's what happens. We can only push things down for so long before eventually we have to deal with them. This is a testimonial from one of my previous clients that I will share. I just wanted to thank you for guiding me through your timeline therapy. I've been in traditional counseling off and on for almost 30 years. Just after a couple of sessions with you, I was experiencing a transformation in my thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. I've told people about timeline therapy, and I'm excited to one day help other people through this method. I really enjoyed meeting you online each week while addressing some root causes for my unhealthy patterns I was experiencing. Thank you so much. This lady's actually gone on and studied and trained in neurotransformation therapy to help others as well. And that's such an amazing thing, to be able to help someone and then create that ripple effect. And then she's going to go on and help other people as well. So this is a bit of my story and my background, so you can understand my journey. And I think being able to relate to probably what I've gone through, sharing my story, you might be able to relate, and you'll be able to relate. And I find that very powerful. So it all started for me, well, my journey really started probably about 6 to 7 years ago. But prior to that, it all come back to when I was 14, my mum passed away from bowel cancer. And at that age, like, I don't remember people telling me how to deal with grief or what that is going to look like, how I'm going to feel. So the pattern that I took on and the belief that I took on was, if I talk about it, I make other people upset, and people are already more upset. So why would I want to go and make them more upset? So I stopped talking about how I was feeling. I stopped talking about my mum, and I just started to be there for everyone else. And I just like, yep, I'm fine. But really, I just blocked it all out. My brain just put up a brick wall, and it blocked my memories out. It just blocked my emotions out. And I didn't even realize that my brain had done this until nearly 7 years ago. My nan passed away on the anniversary of my mum's passing. So then that brick wall that I had put up, it started to crumble down, because it was like I had to relive that whole evening again. And I had to start to grieve for 2 people. And that's when I realized that my brain had put that brick wall up as a survival mechanism, because I couldn't process, I couldn't deal at that young age. And then when that started happening, I went into depression. I couldn't, like, I would always be upset. I would be crying, and that was very unusual for me. So then I hired my first coach, and I had some great results, and it was really good. It got me so far ahead, and it helped me heal and grieve. But then it only got me so far before I started to slowly go backwards again. And then I started living my holistic lifestyle, starting to, pull back the layers and wonder, okay, why am I feeling like this? Why is my body doing this? And that led me down looking into gut health, repairing my gut, because I was in such a state of flight, stress, that living in that state and suppressing all them emotions, it manifests and it ruined my gut, and I had to start from scratch, from healing my gut. And being in that industry before I would become a coach, I was a jockey, and it's very mentally hard as well as physically. So I wouldn't show emotion because I didn't want to be looked down on. I didn't want to be looked as weak, or if you show emotion, oh, why she's just so emotional, like, you take on all them stories and all them beliefs, so then you slowly just push everything down, suppress everything, because you don't want to be looked at as weak, or she's just such an emotional person. You don't want to be looked at and be frowned upon. So then I had to make a decision to leave the racing industry because I was in such a low spot, which led me to becoming a neurotransformation therapist, because I needed something to help me. I was in such a low spot that once I left the front door, you can put on the smile, you can put on a fake face, but no one really knows what's going on underneath that fake smile. And, you act like everything's okay, but behind closed doors, you don't really know what someone's going through. And that's what I did. I didn't want to talk to people about it. I just wanted to work on myself without having to share anything with anyone and tell people that I was struggling. But I needed some help because I couldn't get to a place that I needed to get to myself. And that's when I hired my coach. I had such incredible results that I went on and trained in it so I can help other people overcome and heal. So they don't think that this is just them, they have to suffer like this, that there is another choice out there. And that's a little bit about my journey, and how I've got to where I am today. And that's also why I went on and studied recently. I've just finished studying and become a colon hydrotherapist as well, because we store so much in the body, and it's linked back to my why, my mum, living that holistic lifestyle, being able to help other people as well. So why stick around to the end? If you stick around to the end of this training, I will know you are truly committed to your own transformation. Because you are committed, I will be offering a free gift worth over $600. And that's one of my own personal meditations to increase energy by 63% and confidence by 72%. I'll give you my self-doubt 5-step crusher and my 5-day procrastination destroyer as well. So I will email them to you probably tomorrow. So let's get into the training. If you've got a pen and paper, grab that, because you want to start taking some notes or take some screenshots even. So what is trauma? If you want, you can chuck it in the chat, what your definition of trauma is. If you want, share that. Loss, grief. Yep, definitely. So trauma is what happened inside of you as a result of what happened to you. Trauma is an unwanted emotional shock or emotional response to a situation, event, experience, which you didn't have a strategy to process fully. Your brain didn't have a strategy to process the emotion at the time, or your brain didn't feel safe enough to process the emotion fully. So your nervous system locked in an unwanted emotion and negative belief to that experience. The emotion then gets triggered in the now after the event has occurred and can even trigger physiological responses in the body. And when the trauma is what happened inside of you, this allows you to heal and recover it and recover from it. Because we can't change the past, but we can change how it's stored in the body. And we can change how the emotions and the memories are stored. And to be able to do that, you have to do the deeper work with your subconscious. And that's what completely changed everything for me. So what are core wounds? If you want to chuck it in the chat, if you want to share, otherwise I'll just continue. So a core wound is a belief and a story that your brain has made up from past emotional traumatic experiences and or your childhood. So core wounds are deep emotional injuries that arise from experiences of significant loss, betrayal, or trauma, often occurring in childhood or early adolescence. These wounds can shape a person's beliefs, behaviors, and relationships well into adulthood. And if left unhealed, they can lead to a lifetime of emotional pain and distress. And core wounds can take many different forms, and each person's experience of them are unique. Two people can have the exact same experience, and one person will filter it completely different as the other one. And you might take on trauma from that. Your brain will store that completely different as someone right next to you, because we're all different and we're all filter information completely different, and we all store it differently. So it's all unique to everyone. So some common examples include feelings of abandonment, rejection, shame, unworthiness, not good enough, unlovable, failure, not deserving, no confidence. I know for me, I had all of them. And these wounds can be caused by a variety of experiences, all of the above, exactly. And that's why I'm so open about sharing this, because so many people have all of these wounds, and sometimes they don't even know that they're carrying them, or they don't feel like they're able to share. But I had all of these, and the thing is, you can heal that, and that's the powerful thing. And these wounds can be caused by a variety of experiences, such as neglect, abuse, significant loss, such as a death of a loved one. So when a person experiences a core wound, it can have a profound impact on their sense of self and their relationship with others. For an example, a person who experienced abandonment as a child may struggle to trust others and form deep, meaningful connections with others. And a person who experienced rejection may struggle with self-esteem and may avoid taking risks or pursuing their goals. It requires acknowledging the pain and the trauma of the past and understanding how it has shaped your beliefs and behaviors, and taking steps to change those patterns. And that's what we do in the Release, Heal and Glow program. So even if you've experienced trauma as an adult, it can still be linked back to something that happened to in your childhood as well. So a lot of people say, oh, I had a good childhood. But then once we peel back the layers, something may have happened in that childhood that we can heal, as well as the trauma that you may have experienced as an adult as well. So what are some types of wounds? So we've got the mother/feminine wound, we've got the father/masculine wound, and we've got the inner child wound. And I put it as mother/feminine wound because it can be a gender wound, but it also can be the energy wound as well, because we've all got a feminine energy and a masculine energy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be gender related either. So I like to explain it as like this. So a lot of women, we can have the mother wound, or we can have the feminine wound, which is you shut down, you suppress, you withdraw. And normally then you probably get sick of being told what to do, like you probably lose your voice. And then you get to the point where you start getting resentful and you start feeling frustrated, and then you shift into your masculine energy. And then what happens is you go into your like do forcefulness, and you kind of like put that shield up because you've been hurt so many times. You don't want to be hurt again. So you put that shield up and you kind of block out things, and that's in your masculine. So you can become very disconnected to your feminine, if that makes sense, because the feminine is very shut down, loss of voice, suppressed, and the masculine is very harsh, very gold, like, go, very forceful energy. And that's how I like to explain with the energies. And then we've also got the mother wound and the father wound, but you can take on, you can carry both wounds. They're not gender specific. So you can have a mother who she might be very much in her masculine, that passes on that masculine wound as well. And we have to remember that the victor was once the victim, and the abuser was once the abused. And our wounds, they come from the wounded, but we can all heal this. So the mother/feminine wound. The mother wounds are typically associated with issues that arise from a difficult or dysfunctional relationship with one's mother. They can include feelings of abandonment, neglect, or rejection, as well as difficulties with trust, self-esteem, and attachment. And then you've got the father/masculine wound. The father wounds are similar but associated with negative experiences related to one's father. This can include issues such as emotional distance, physical or emotional abuse, neglect, or even the abuse of a father figure altogether. These experiences can lead to issues with self-esteem, trust, and relationships with others. And we probably carry both of these wounds as well. And then we've got the inner child wound. So inner child wounds refer to unresolved trauma or negative experiences from our childhood that can continue to affect us in our adult life as individuals. These can include experiences such as neglect, abuse, or abandonment, and can lead to issues such as low self-esteem, difficulty setting boundaries, struggles with emotional regulation. And then some other wounds are, like I mentioned earlier, the abandonment wound, rejection wound, betrayal, shame, neglect. So there's so many different layers and so many different wounds that we can carry. And a lot of the time we don't even know that we're carrying these. This is a client quote. Wow, that was deep. No one has explained it to me like that before. So different to other things that I've tried. And that was after our first session. And I like to also explain it like doing this deeper inner work and healing our wounds and getting to the root core. It's like, for instance, if you have a slab and you've got a house and that slab has got cracks in it, then it's going to be wobbly and it's going to start to, sway in the wind, and, your bits and pieces are going to start to break off. And that's not going to be very strong and it's going to be brittle. But by doing this work and healing our wounds and finding that root core and healing from that, it's like we put a whole new slab down, and that slab's got no cracks. It's perfectly flat, it's strong. So then the house that we put on top of it, it's strong as an ox. let's do it back. It's strong, and it's not going to break, or it's not going to have cracks in it, because we've cleared the old and we've laid a strong new foundation. So then that's when your meditation, your journaling, your affirmation, that's all when doing all of that, it makes this so much stronger, and it stops any other cracks from even trying to form. But we have to clear out the old and clear out the unstableness to put down a nice strong foundation. And that's what we do in the Release, Heal and Glow program. So what are some trauma patterns and attachment styles? If you want, chuck it in. If you want to chuck it in the chat, what you think some trauma patterns and attachment styles are. So attachment styles. Attachment styles are the ways in which individuals relate to others, particularly in close relationships, and are often shaped by early experiences with caregivers. Attachment styles are linked back to deep emotional wounds that are often rooted in childhood experience and can affect an individual's relationships and self-esteem. There are 4 main attachment styles. There's secure, anxious, preoccupied, dismissive, avoidant, and fearful, avoidant. And each attachment style is associated with different ways of coping with core wounds. So, secure attachment style. Individuals with a secure attachment style generally have a positive view of themselves and others. They are comfortable with intimacy, and they are able to establish healthy and secure relationships. While they may still have core wounds, they are typically more resilient in managing them. And then we've got the anxious, preoccupied attachment. So this is people with an anxious attachment style often have a fear of abandonment and a strong desire for closeness. They may have a core wound related to abandonment and rejection, which can lead to seeking constant reassurance and validation from others. And then we've got the avoidant, dismissive attachment style. Individuals with an avoidant attachment style tend to be emotionally distant and avoid close relationships. They may have a core wound related to emotionally unavailability or neglect, which leads them to protect themselves by avoiding intimacy and suppressing their emotions. Ooh, go back. And then we've got the fearful avoidant attachment. This attachment style combines elements of both anxious and avoidant attachment styles. People with fearful avoidant attachment style often have a core wound related to trauma or abuse. They may struggle with trust and have conflicting desires for closeness and distance. And before I'd done all my healing and trained in this, I didn't even know that all of these attachment styles existed. And then once I learned all of it, I was like, wow, like that stands out to me now, and it's so obvious what attachment styles I had. But it wasn't until I learned about it that it was even brought to my awareness and made me aware of what had been playing out. Trauma patterns people learn. So I'm going to go through some trauma patterns that people learn, and this first one is narcissism. So narcissism is marked by a sense of grandiosity, entitlement. They think they are the most intelligent, smartest, and most attractive, charming person. They think they are the most skilled, and it's all about their image and what's for them. I know for me, I have come in, I've come in contact with a few narcissists, and doing all of this, I can see it even more now when I'm talking to people, or their patterns and their behaviors. And their most common childhood unmet needs were attention, not enough attention, not feeling seen, not feeling validated, and not feeling significant. So, as an adult, you've developed this pattern, but it is linked back to your unmet childhood needs. The next one's gaslighting. I know I've come in contact with this before. So this is made up of at least two of the following. Someone denies your reality, avoids responsibility for their toxic behaviors by lying and denying, makes you question the facts, your memory, and your feelings, which makes you feel like you are at cause of the problem, has an intention to make you feel guilty when you question them or hold them accountable. And the most common unmet childhood needs are not enough attention, not feeling seen, not feeling validated, and not feeling significant. And then the next one's codependency. So codependency is a dysfunctional relationship dynamic where one person assumes the role of the giver, sacrificing their own needs and well-being for the sake of the other, and that's the taker. Codependency is a circular relationship in which one person needs the other person, in turn needs to be needed. And you see this a lot in parents and child relationship as well. And the most common unmet childhood needs were not feeling validated, significant, heard, loved, understood, or feeling seen or enough attention. And these are patterns that we can develop even as adults as well. And we may not even know it at the time, but it also can be linked back to your childhood. The next one's people pleasing. I know I was guilty of this one. The people pleaser needs to please others. They need to tend to their needs of others, thinking this will fulfill their own emotional needs. They spend time worrying about what others think about them. They're not pleasing others out of love. They are doing it out of fear. You violate your own values to meet the needs of others. And it's likely as a child you have learned to receive significance, love, and attention this way. And you're fearful of losing someone, or you're fearful of not being good enough. So you want to please everyone to make you feel good enough. That's another way of underlying people pleasing as well. And if we link it back to your childhood, the most common unmet childhood needs were not feeling validated, not feeling significant, heard, loved, understood, feeling seen, or enough attention. Anger or attacking another. If you discharge the emotion into someone else, you have released it, but it comes with consequences. These are 4 causes of anger. Out of control. You got pain from being out of control in the past, or feeling insignificant. So you have stacked feelings of insignificant that you want to avoid. Feeling fearful, underlining you are fearing something, and feeling underlying hurt. Behind the hurt, behind the anger is often hurt, and behind the hurt is loss. And you feel you have lost something you value, like love, significance, or reputation. And a lot of the time it's easier to go to anger than it is to feel the hurt, sad, grief, loss. The most common unmet childhood needs are not feeling validated, and not feeling significance. For me, this was, I'd always always go to anger, and that was a generational pattern that had been handed down. But it wasn't until I decided that, like, I'm breaking this pattern, and put a stop to that and healed them wounds, that then this pattern doesn't happen anymore. I still have anger, but I don't project it out onto others. I'm able to process it and release it in healthy ways. Emotional shutdown. When you no longer can control the situation the way you want. You feel unseen, unheard, misunderstood, insignificant, unsafe. Emotional shutdown becomes a strategy to protect yourself from further emotional or physical pain. You can emotional shutdown to protect yourself from being hurt again. It's not uncommon to disconnect, detach, or numb out from feelings related to the situation. And the most common unmet childhood needs are not feeling validated, significant, heard, understood, or feeling seen. But you can also experience adult trauma and develop these patterns as well. I just like to share how your unmet childhood needs can result to this as well. And then we've got over apologetic. So you've learned this by seeing your parents do this, or you didn't receive enough validation or approval as a child, so you can apologize to receive that. Another reason may be that from your childhood, you took on the belief that something's wrong with me, so you apologize to people. You didn't feel safe in the environment, so you over apologize so you can feel safe. And the most common unmet childhood needs are not feeling validated, significant, heard, loved, feeling seen, or attention. But even as an adult, if you're in that environment and someone keeps putting you down enough, like if you're in that work environment or even in a home environment, if someone's constantly putting you down, you can develop this pattern because you always think that you're at fault and you can feel not good enough. Struggle enforcing boundaries. People often struggle to say no because they fear of losing love of that person, or they fear the change in perception in the other person. we can see our parents struggle with this and we learn it that way, or learn it as a coping strategy. Many have grown up in families without boundaries. You may never have saw anyone model or teach healthy boundaries. And the most common unmet childhood needs are not feeling validated, not feeling significant, heard, loved, understood, seen, or enough attention. And it's another quote from one of my clients. After the first session, I have a greater understanding of why I am the way I am and how I have been filtering things and situations through the lens of my past. Just bringing this to my awareness, I react different, and it was only after one session. So how's everyone going so far? I can put that in the slides next time. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you should see that. Yeah, like not feeling heard, understood. Yeah. Right, so let's talk about trauma and the brain. All above. I thought I was reading it wrong. Oh, no, you weren't reading it wrong, Heather. No. All right, so let's talk about how we filter information before and after a traumatic experience. So we have an external event, and when we have that event, what happens is we get 11 million bits of information per second through all these senses that's in our subconscious. And once we filter all the information through these senses, we delete, distort, and generalize it down to 125 bits of information. And out of them 125 bits, we get a focus and language, which is self-talk. We get a physiology, and then that gives us an emotional state, and then it gives us a behavior and a result. So how we filter information, this is how we filter information. We filter information through past references, which are memories, decisions, mediograms, identity, values, beliefs, human needs, source of love, the shadow, spiritual center, ego, and spirit. So the main ones we filter life through are past memories, our identity, our values, and beliefs. And what our brain does is when we filter an event, once it filters through all them filters, what it does is it'll start to stack. It'll start to filter all the information through their memories, and it will start to stack. And it was like, okay, I'm feeling like this, and these are all the other times that I felt like this, to make and it makes that emotion and that memory even stronger. And that's how people can get stuck as well. They want to take that next step, for instance, on their healing journey, but they're fearful because last time I wanted to do this, I tried this and it didn't work. And last time I did this and this happened. And then your brain will start to stack through all the past negative experiences, and it will keep your ego will want to keep you back in your safe little bubble, even though it's painful, because stepping out of that into the unknown, it can be uncomfortable, and it can bring up, what ifs. And our ego doesn't like feeling uncomfortable and vulnerable. So it will start to stack through all them filters to keep us stuck. And then if we're filtering the information through our past negative experience, it's not going to give us a very good focus and language. In turn, it's going to give us probably a poor physiology, which is going to result into not a great emotional state. So then we make poor choices. Our behavior is not the best. And it's because we're filtering life through our past negative experiences. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if I was to say, how much of your life are you filtering through your past negative experiences? A lot of it, yeah, definitely. Sometimes we just don't realize how much we filter life through our past experiences. And our brain loves negativity. The ego feeds off negativity. So it's always going to go straight for the negative over the positive. And being able to catch yourself in that moment is also pretty powerful. But it's being able to clear all them filters. And that's what we're able to do when we work with our subconscious mind, because we can clear all them filters so you can start fresh. So you don't have them past negative emotions, all them limiting beliefs that you've taken on. Because if we think about it, like, how many negative and limiting beliefs do you say to yourself on a daily basis? It's unbelievable. And then your brain will start to stack. Oh, yep, last time this happened when I felt like this. And then this happened. And then this happened. And it puts us in an even lower negative state. But the brain loves negativity. It feeds off it and it gets stronger. And that's when it's so powerful to be able to release this out of the nervous system and completely change our filters and have it as a blank slate and release all of them. So how much of your life are you filtering through your past trauma and your core wounds? And it's amazing. Sometimes until it's brought to our awareness, we don't realize, or we might not understand it as much. So hopefully you understand it a bit more, and maybe a bit more is brought to your awareness. Just because even having just the awareness is so powerful as well. That's why I find it so powerful to share this information with you, because like this information isn't shared and it's not talked about, or you don't have access to it. So being able to share this is such a powerful thing. So these are some more client quotes. I feel so much lighter and freer. I'm not so stiff and rigid anymore. My head doesn't feel foggy. It feels clearer and calmer. I've noticed I'm not reacting to anything or taking anything personally. I don't have that constant battle with anxious, angry thoughts, and there is no frustration or moodiness. And that's the power of being able to clear them filters and release all of that out of your nervous system and your subconscious. So then you can go from having that, you can go from having that foundation with cracks and holes in it and little bits falling off, to having it solid and having it completely as what you want it to be. And then once you've got that strong foundation, that's when things just start to shift. You vibrate at a different level. You start to attract in different, your values change. So things that used to really trigger you and things that used to really like piss you off, you don't have that negativity behind it anymore. So you just don't react anymore, because you need that negativity to be able to react. But if you don't have that negative emotion and that negative belief, then there's nothing to react to. And that's the power of releasing it out of your subconscious mind. So this is why I'm so passionate about finding the root cause and not just dealing with the symptoms. So my biggest driver is my mum with her journey, and being like all the research that I've done, all the studyings that I've done, I see it so clearly, and they missed it. And it's like, if she just didn't get brushed off just as it's just stress, go home. Well, it wasn't just stress. These were all her symptoms. And if they had have looked into it and they'd done testing early, then they could have found it a lot earlier than it's too late. From the day she was diagnosed to the day she passed away, it was five months. Because at the start, she just got brushed off. It's just stress, go home. So how often are you getting brushed off because people aren't listening to you? Or just take this, it's just depression, just take this, go home. Well, how about let's look at what's going on underneath this to be causing you to feel this way. Let's look at what's underneath this to be causing you to stress. And these are the two approaches. And this is what I'm really passionate about, is looking at the Band-Aid approach and the root cause approach. So we've got two approaches, and the Band-Aid approach is like most of modern day medicine at the moment. Like, you go to the doctor, you say, I'm feeling XYZ, they say, oh, here's your tablet, go home. Well, they don't even have the time anymore to ask, what's been going on. They don't have the time to look deeper. They literally have 5-10 minutes with you. They want you in and out as quick as possible. Oh, yep, this is the symptom. Okay, just take this and off you go. Come back in a week, see how you are. But they don't even give you the time, because they don't have the time. They just want people in and out, just a number. But you're more than that. And that's when, let's look at what's going on underneath the symptoms. But the Band-Aid approach is just addressing the symptoms and not the root cause. So what are some of the, like, if you want to chuck in the chat, what are some of the symptoms and not the root cause? Tension, headaches, definitely. Yep. Stress, anxiety, stomach upset, absolutely. Yep. And normally what they would do is just give you some nausea tablets for the upset stomach, or they just give you some Nurofen or Panadol for the headaches. They might, if it's stress and anxiety, they would just give you some anti-anxiety medication. But it's being able to work, okay, why is this going on? What's underneath this? So again, like, these are some other just Band-Aid approach. Medications, drugs, alcohol, sex, porn, gambling, numbing out. These are all things that are a quick fix, but they're not, they might fix in a short term, but then the pain starts to come back, or we start to feel again, and then you want the next hit because that started to wear off. And a lot of the time where our bodies can get, our bodies can, I can't think of the word, but it can become very used to that medication dose. So then you'll find that it might not be as effective. So then you go back to the doctor and they just put you up a dose, because our bodies get so used to it. But, and don't get me wrong, like, there's a time and place for medication. Of course, we don't want anyone to do anything harmful. That's not undoable. So in the short term, if it's going to help someone, then yes, let's look at that medication. But for the long term, let's look at how we can heal what's going on underneath so you can come off that medication, so you don't have to be dependent on it. So it can be great for a short-term fix to keep someone safe or to keep someone from not dying if they're in need. But let's look at the long-term solution to fixing what's going on. So then this is the approach 2. This is the root cause. So it's finding what's underneath, finding the first significant event that you felt like this. Like people can say, oh, I'm feeling depressed. Okay, then what's going on so you feel this way? And I can guarantee you, it's probably not the first time you felt this way. So then let's look back to when you first felt like this. And that's what we do in the program with me. We don't just look at the now, we look at, okay, when did this first start? When did you first feel this? What was happening when you first felt this way? What needs weren't met as a child? What limiting beliefs did you take on from that? It's the what, how, it's the what, why, and how. Does that all make sense? Yeah, perfect. And I'll go into that in a minute, but like the quick fix, there's always going to be a side effect to it. There's always going to, 9 times out of 10, there'll be side effects to it that will then flow into other areas of your life. Where if we find the root cause and heal from the root cause, there's no side effects. We can heal from our root cause. So it's the what. You must understand what makes up all parts of a problem in the nervous system, the possible gain to holding on to the problem, the limiting beliefs and stories, the fears that hold someone back, the negative emotion and anchors from the past, the strategy in the mind being used to the problem, the values of the person and the value conflicts, the level of consciousness the person is operating from, because so often the patterns that we produce are unconscious and you don't even know. It's the why someone is playing out these unwanted patterns, where their unwanted emotion come from, where their unwanted behavior come from, which of the 7 needs weren't met for them, and how is that playing out? Why are they still holding on to the problem? And it's the how. You must know the most effective and efficient subconscious transformation tools so you can clear and release the negative emotion and limiting beliefs out of the subconscious and nervous system. You have to do new anchoring and embodiment. You have to have new beliefs and align your values, because if your values don't align with the person you're becoming, the results are going to be skew-iffed. Like if you want to be a health, like, if you want to work on your health and wellness, but your values aren't aligning and you're still wanting to eat McDonald's and pizza and drink alcohol, like you see how you're not going to get the great results because your values aren't aligning with becoming a healthier person. And that's the process so you can free yourself from your past. And once you do the what, why, and how, and you get to the root cause and heal the root core wounds, that's when the emotion doesn't control you anymore and you control the emotion. You can feel confident and empowered. You can feel happy and excited about life again. You can find your voice and yourself. And that's how I found my voice again, so I can help others doing this kind of work. Because before I'd done this, if I was trying to talk to someone, it would feel like I was choking on my own voice. I couldn't get 2 words out. What I wanted to say and what come out were 2 completely different things. I'd never be able to do a masterclass or a live or stories. And that's the difference. The results that you get from doing this work is amazing. And that's what we do in the Release, Heal, and Glow method, to get the results that you desire, even when nothing has worked. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing this with others, so then you can heal from the root cause. You can heal your core wounds. So you don't have to think that I've tried everything, it must just be me, because it's not. We're not broken, we just need to heal, and we just have to find the right tools, techniques, and processes to help you get there. So this is a testimonial from one of my clients. A few years now, I have struggled with my emotions and my past trauma in life. It affected my way of living, well-being, and the way I felt about myself. Fear, failure, guilt, confidence were running my life. Finding and completing Casey's coaching, Release, Heal, and Glow has allowed me to become a whole different person and to be able to look at life differently. The program has allowed me to become a whole different person inside and out. The program has affected and changed how others treat me also, which is amazing. Casey makes everything so comfortable and makes you feel safe. Not only has my outlook on life changed, but I have regained and refreshed my mind and emotions and can say I'm in control, confident, and looking towards the future. Thank you, Casey, for giving me my life back with your coaching that you have given and shared with me. And this is another one. I was at a desperate point of unhealthy unhappiness, which was soul destroying. So exhausted and unable to see anything good. I had lost faith, trust, hope, and myself. I was dying inside instead of living. Then I happened upon your program and was curious and listened to your live reel. It resonated with me and touched my heart. I knew I needed to reach out to you to see if you could help, so I did. And how wonderful and a true blessing to find you and unpack a real transformation of courage, newfound strength, to live and not feel unworthy and so alone. You have helped me let go and gave me strategies for my triggers. It was at times confronting and challenging for me to let go of the hurt, but I know now that the hurt was holding me back and I was not safe holding on to the pain, and I'm not what it had me to believe. It was blocking my path to a happier self. I learned to take my power back. Your support and patience helped me beyond measure. I couldn't have got past these blocks without you and your program. Well worth it. So much thanks and care to you and your amazing program to wellness and self-love to all. So now you've got 2 options. Oh, let me go back. So option 1, try to figure out all this on your own. You can do it yourself. However, the results will be unpredictable and limited because there's only so much trial and error involved. And if you do option 1, then I wish you all the best. Like, I want to keep in contact with me, let me know how you're going, and always, grab all my free offers. But doing it on your own, it can be a very slow process. And you can't see what someone else can see. So it can only get you so far. And that's why people say, I've done all the YouTubes, I've listened to the podcasts, I've read the books, but it can only get you so far. And then I like to share this as well. So I'm going to put a timer on for say 30 seconds, and I want you to count from 1 to 15 and see how you go. See if you can find 1 to 15 in order. How'd you go? Chuck in the chat what number you got up to and how that felt. You got up to 9. Good. You got 10. Wow, well done. So then you've got option 2. You got 8. Well done. Option 2, learn a proven and tested method to break free from past trauma, heal your core wounds to become confident, happy, and love life. And this is when you follow the science of the brain. You have someone with you walking alongside you the whole way, who's been there, who's done every step of the way, so they know how you feel at each part. They know, they can relate, they've been there, and they can say, I've got you. That's option 2. And then I want you to see the difference. So this is what it's like. So just go bottom left, bottom right, top left, and follow the box and see how you feel differently, counting from 1 to 16 or 1 to 15. See how that is. Beans, I've gave you the steps and shown you where they are. What numbers did you get up to this time? Did it feel easier the second time with that guidance and that having it planned out for you than it did the first time? Because I know for me, without the lines, when I was like, oh my God, shit, like, I was trying to go a million miles an hour. I was getting anxious. I was getting like all tense, racing against the clock. And then when they said this, just follow each box, it was like so much calmer. It just flowed. It was so much effortless. Like that was the difference for me. Chuck in the chat if that's how you felt. It just flowed a lot more. It was a lot easier. And they're the 2 options. So over the next easier, you got to 15. Well done. You've both got 15. Awesome. So over the next few days, I've set aside time to talk to you and see if I can help you break free from past trauma and heal your core wounds. So I've got that link. I'll chuck it in the chat again. If you did want to happen to book that 30 minutes with me, so then I can personalize this information. I can see if this is the right program for you. I can even customize it more so you can understand, okay, what are the next steps to take? And then if you want to go further, amazing. I'm so excited. If you say, no, I think I'm just going to take what you've shared with me and continue on my journey, then that's okay as well. I'm happy for either way. And I'm happy if you book the call and you just take on even more information, then that's perfect, because we can always have more information. And all I ask is to keep in contact. Like, I love connecting with other people on their journey. But if you do happen to want to go further and see if the Release, Heal and Glow program is for you, then we can chat more about that too. So if that is something that you're interested in, the link is in the chat for you to jump on the opportunity to take that call up. Completely up to you. So then I would love to hear from you. What are your biggest takeaways from tonight? stayed on time as well. So sometimes I can go over, but I stayed on time, which is perfect. Acknowledging the struggles and issues from my past. Yeah, amazing. Understanding and addressing our core wounds is an important step towards healing. Absolutely correct, Clarice. Having done similar work, but probably the masculine wounds are a big one for me. Yeah. Yep, definitely. So many takeaways. It's perfect. So if you would like, if you want to send me like knowing I need to push to keep on track. So if you would like to send me a little review or a little testimony of the masterclass, so then if I run it again, I can share that with other people to get them interested. That would be really appreciative. If not, that's okay. But yeah, if you would, that would be amazing. I'd really be grateful for that. And then I want to thank you for joining the masterclass and sharing this time together. It's been amazing, and I've really enjoyed holding this space for you and sharing this information with you. It means so much. You're not broken, you just need to heal. And what I'll do is I'll also open up a Q&A. I'll stop recording, open up a Q&A for everyone that's on live. If you want to share or unmute yourself in a second, I'll just say, see you later to recording people, and then we will go from there.